Hey everybody, what's up? It's time to head to Australia today. We're going on a ride around the world exploring music, psychology, philosophy, so much more. I'm your hostess, Rosalie. Welcome.
Is perfect for you.
Ah, she's like singing out of my soul. Sometimes we get lost in our own little world, but it's all so much bigger than we realize.
Today's shout out goes to Arthur Woolwell. Thank you for your suggestion via donation. I was encouraged to check out an artist named Nick Cave. Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. And this song is called The Ship Song. I don't know what to expect. I have no idea. If you want to figure out how to get your suggestion in front of me, check out my Buy Me a Coffee page in the description below, buymeacoffee.com. You can make a suggestion via donation. Make sure to read the requirements to get that request before me so I can check it out and bring you a deep dive analysis. Are you ready? If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe. "1990, The Good Son," from the Good Son album, I suppose.
Come sail your ships around me and burn your bridges down. We make a little history, baby, every time you come around. Come loose your dogs upon me and let your hair hang down. You are a little mystery to me. Every time you call around, we talk about it all night long. We define our moral ground. But when I crawl into your arms, everything, it comes tumbling down. Come sail your ships around me and burn your bridges down. We make a little history, baby, every time you come around. Your face is falling sad now, for you know the time is nigh.
Oh, I hear the harmonies here.
When I must remove your wings, and you must try to fly. Come sail your ships around me and burn your bridges down. We make a little
That hook is very catchy. Dun la da 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 da. And then even hear the outro, the vocalization. Bum 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 bum. You know, from a musical standpoint, it would have not been my type of taste. It's not a song that I would have listened to or enjoyed for myself without being encouraged to be open-minded and to branch out from what I'm used to, just from a music genre style. Just to be honest, I promised real talk, real reaction, so I'll be real with you. It's not the type of song I would play on my own or appreciate or understand. But when you listen to music beyond just from an entertainment standpoint, oh, do I like this or not? Is this for me or not? And you try to open your mind and listen to things and pay attention to compositions. You research lyrics. You try to understand. Things start standing out to you that you may have not noticed before, or you may even start appreciating or liking certain elements. What I found interesting here was the hook, right? That the note compilation and the hook that we heard throughout the chorus. The the range of his voice, I believe he's a baritone, and that subtle rasp, that warmth of those lower notes, it reminded me of someone, and I cannot put my finger on it, but it was a distinct voice. Nick Cave seems to have a distinct voice. He is an Australian singer-songwriter, and I read that he is known for his baritone voice, and he played a prominent role in the post-punk movement, being a frontman of the bands The Birthday Party and the Bad Seeds. And when I looked up, how much is he known? How famous is he? I saw someone comment saying he's a cult classic, not a bestseller. But that cult is Legion, this one person says. And so and somebody else commented or shared an article about how Nick Cave is the greatest serious rock musician, even though he would have deserved a wider exposure. So I think with some of these artists, we find that they come from certain places, Australia, for example, in this case, and you may have these artists that become these cult legends, these staples of time, staples of an era, staples of a genre, but they don't necessarily get worldwide prominence, or they're not known, say, in America. Or vice versa, you have an artist that's big in America and appreciated, but doesn't make it worldwide. And that's the thing with music that's so interesting. It's this universal language. It's this powerful form of art, but it is subjective. Some people like it, some people don't. Then there's a whole lot of factors involved from the business side of things when it comes to the music industry, and who gets pushed and who doesn't, and what type of things get pushed worldwide, and what type of things make it on the radio and whatnot. And then you have times changing, right? Where back in the day, it was more dependent on being able to produce your music, make it an album. What type of label do you have behind you that pushes it worldwide? Where is it being talked about in the magazines and the newspapers, on television, MTV, Viva? You have all these different TV shows. Now, it's not just a matter of word of mouth, magazine, or billboards. Now you can just share a reaction. You can talk about it on social media, and word will spread. But even still, there are factors such as the algorithm when it comes to YouTube, such as budget when it comes to your marketing and how you can push your music, and taste. And taste is also sometimes influenced by the generation of the time. Many of you who love some of these legends who have been around in the 80s, 90s, and so on, you appreciate different types of music, and you consider certain things music and certain things not. And the generation emerging now, yet again, has a different taste and argues the same. It's interesting to see how music affects people in different ways. To me, what stood out was the texture of his voice, that baritone ability. What I also found interesting was the lyrics, and I was not sure exactly how to interpret it at first. I thought at first glance, it's, I guess some type of a love song, some type of romance. Come sail your ships around me, burn your bridges down. We'll make a little history. Come loose your dogs upon me. Let your hair hang down. We talk about it all night long. We define our moral ground. Okay, so as I'm reading this, at least the first few stanzas, I'm thinking, it's this call to action to a lover to approach, let down your walls, perhaps. Let's make this a beautiful night. Perhaps a sexual love, perhaps romance. A call to action to connect, to come together. As I continue reading, the emotion changes, the thought changes here, the feeling. Your face has fallen sad now. You know the time is nigh when I must remove your wings and you must try to fly. Now we're getting a little deeper, beyond just, let's hang out, let's be with each other all night long, we'll talk about it. We're not tapping into topics that are becoming a little more complex. Even saying something like define our moral ground when I crawl into your arms, or now saying, I'll remove your wings and you must try to fly. When you remove someone's wings, they can no longer fly. if you're encouraging someone to fly or you're telling them they should fly, ideally they should have their wings in place. But this person is saying, I will remove them. Very paradox and almost like setting someone up to fail. What could this be about? As I looked up some thoughts or interpretations, I read that someone said it's this a song about relationships, people that are arguing all the time, that are saying all kinds of things. They're unleashing the dogs, burning the bridges, and now encouraging the other person to leave the past behind. Let's move forward, right? Could this be possible when even when we're speaking of moral grounds and removing someone's wings but having to fly? Sure, I think there's dynamics like that in relationship where one person tries to control the other. One person has said something or done something that feels like the removal of wings, but we still have to fly. We still have to take that step to forgive and make this relationship work. Moral ground, perhaps understanding, okay, these are the things we're going to accept or not accept. This is what's right and wrong. This is the parameters. These are the parameters of our relationship. Another comment was speaking about how perhaps it's ex-lovers who keep coming back to each other, two lovers who have a history, and every time they meet up, they make love. And when they meet again, they don't want to let this happen because they're both very guarded and hurt. Is that possible? Could some of the lyrics be interpreted that way? Possibly. One thing that I found interesting was a comment that spoke about it possibly being a forbidden love, some type of affair or old lovers, because they're speaking of every time you come around, we'll make a little history. Making history can be a beautiful thing. You're making history. You're doing something that will go down as a legacy that will be remembered. But making history isn't always positive. Plenty of people have made history in a very bad way. They've done evil things and they've gone down in history as the villain or as dictators, etc. When you're making history, it could also be doing something significant every time we meet up that is not good, especially if it's speaking of defining moral ground when I crawl into your arms. Everything comes tumbling down. Is this perhaps saying we're not supposed to be doing this? We're defining if this is okay or not, but it all comes tumbling down. All my intentions, all my rules just come tumbling down when we get together. I can't resist. Come sail your ships around me, burn your bridges down. Again, is this hint to let your walls down, let me in, let's connect? Or is this element of seduction and playfulness, sailing your ships around? We're going in circles, perhaps? Is there something cyclical about this? Finding yourself in that same place every time that other person comes around. Your face has fallen sad now, for you know the time is nigh. Is the night coming to an end? So now sadness kicks in. The high of that climax, of that passion, of the emotion is fading. Clipping the wings, removing the wings, but you must fly. I've taken those wings away. I've made it difficult for you to fly, but you've got to go. You've got to leave, perhaps because this is a forbidden love and daylight is now here. And, you have to go back to your other life, or you have to get back into the lie. Come loose your dogs upon me. Let your hair hang down. A dichotomy here, because loosening your dogs onto someone sounds dangerous, sounds harmful. But then letting your hair hang down sounds like a place of relaxation where you're open and vulnerable around someone. You are a little mystery to me every time you come around. It could be interpreted different ways. A very interesting song. Interesting poetic storytelling happening here in the songwriting. Great baritone voice. Interesting composition. What are your thoughts? It's your turn. Comment away. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe. And I'll see you on the next ride.